Talk to me about your training philosophy and how it's evolved. Um, Obviously, you came in 2013 and you had your parameters and the way you wanted to coach athletes, and you've learned from that. What's the biggest lesson you've learned over coaching these last 7 years with the Brooks Beast?
I've become more flexible on the science principles. I was more textbook because I have a graduate degree in exercise physiology and published in biomechanics, and so I had this like very it was almost like a little bit dogmatic, I would say, in terms of like, here's what you need to do to run these things, and it was very equation oriented. um I've got a lot more like flexible in there, like there's a little bit more of like this kind of art, like thought process when I'm
Cool.
coaching and taking risks with it, with workouts, but being really transparent with the athletes at that.
Hmm.
So that's evolved more. Like, you'll see me at the track and I'll be like, well, what do you want to do right now? Or, you know what, let's try doing two less. Like, I'll literally say it. And that, if you were just came like, oh, does he know what the hell he's doing? Like, let's try it two less. Like, what was the plan coming in here? And
Yeah,
so I wouldn't have done that early on.
sure.
Um, and Yeah, that's been a pretty big evolution. I definitely am more interested now in the psychology and neurotransmitters and what's going on with brain chemistry than I
Um,
um, knew about. You don't learn about that much in grad school for physiology, and so
yeah.
like I've had a lot of experience in that, a lot more appreciation to that. There's a lot more conversation around that. Um, and I'm more. I think this is probably a product of the team, the individuals that I'm working with over the last 2 years. But like,
Mhm.
I'm more myself. Like, I'm
Right.
totally fine with making a mistake and um, like having fun at practice and really enjoying it. And so, uh, not that I wasn't then, but I was like that analogy where you're like gripping the steering wheel really tight. Like, that was me from like 13 till 17.
Mhm.
And so I was freaking stressed all the time, and I get stressed for sure now, but it's different. Like, I just kind of had to look in the mirror, and the pandemic's been somewhat helpful with that, where it's like, okay, well, like, I want to be doing this when I'm, Gag's age, hopefully. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of like what you want to do. And so, if I am going at this right now, assuming my brain and body can make it, I probably won't want to do this because this is not fun. And so, trying to be like really practice what I preach with the athletes, because one of our maxims is fun also. And so, like, having gratitude and having fun, and the leader of the team is the coach, and so like that's got to be me too. And so, yeah, there's been a definite evolution. Like, some of the principles are there for sure. Athlete first, trial and effect, like having a scientific foundation. Those things aren't going to change over my, if I'm fortunate to do this for 30, 40 more years. But like, those new things are changing, and I hope that it's something that I actually try to do every year. I try to change a little bit each year.
Mhm.
The roadmap gets a little bit more detailed, and so of course I got to be flexible to make changes. And the athletes are a big part of that, because I tell them, like, your kind of job is to make me better. Like, when we signed Nia Akins, like, it's this is going to be, I'm going to learn from her. Garrett Heath, you brought him up. Like, I've learned a lot from Garrett. Garrett's like, general out there. Like, he helps me quite a bit. He looks around the corner. You got a Stanford master's grad. Like, he's you don't get any
Yeah.
smarter than Garrett. So like, he helps me a lot with things. And even the younger guys like Josh Kerr and David Ribich, same deal. Those guys are sharp. And so I try to have like encourage bottom up leadership with that. And so, because that helps me do my job better. I look smarter, even if it's just them, the one that's really doing it. So I'm cool with that.
I got to meet Josh in where was it? Oh, Birmingham, in 17, I think, or 18. Was
Oh,
coming out of the
Worlds.
hotel. Yeah, with Worlds, coming out with his folks, and
Yeah.
told them how much I enjoyed watching him run. And I said, yeah, there's people who actually know who you are in the United States, and he thought that was pretty
Hmm.
funny. But a good young
Yeah.
man.
He's
That's
awesome.
one of
Yeah.
the things. You got a great group of athletes,
I
and
know.